Thank you. As a young kid, I was always curious how things worked. During the long summers of middle school, I'd often entertain myself by taking apart gadgets and then seeing what I could make from the things that I built. And being a young kid, my creations and interests always tended to border on the destructive, and my internet search history reflected that. From pressure cooker bomb, to anarchist cookbook, to how to smuggle things onto an airplane. I always had these seemingly innocuous search phrases in my mind that elicited an immediate response from my parents, who were rightfully afraid of the FBI busting through our door. Ever since that point, I learned that my interactions on the digital world could have a real and serious impact on my own physical world. And from then on, I had an acute interest in protecting my privacy, and conversely, the surveillance which sought to unmask it. We live in a world under constant physical and digital surveillance. On the physical side, the immense number of cameras in urban areas is a testament to that, and no other country is more surveilled than Great Britain. According to Freedom of Information Act requests, there's a CCTV camera for every 11 people in Great Britain, and the average Englishman passes under over 70 cameras during the course of his day. And on the electronic side, no digital surveillance programs have been more controversial than those conducted by the National Security Agency. Many may be familiar with the PRISM program, in which various companies such as Google, Apple, and Facebook cooperated with the NSA in handing over data relating to text, phone, and internet search records on millions of their users. In fact, right on Folsom Street in downtown San Francisco, there was something called a deep packet analyzer that AT&T ran that sent various phone records to the NSA to be analyzed. And according to other Freedom of Information Act requests, the NSA currently holds over 1.9 trillion phone records in their databases. The fact is that I can say with a little degree of speculation that every single person in this room has some tidbit of private text, phone, internet search, or emailed metadata on a NSA server somewhere. Now, starting to notice this increase in surveillance, I also observed that it seemed to mirror a trend in our world to increasingly digitize our lives. Interested by this, I decided to read a book by Dave Eggers called The Circle. It's modeled in the future, and it kind of tells a Orwellian tale, similar to 1984, in which a corporation has a complete monopoly over our digital lives. This corporation, called The Circle, can be imagined as a combination of Facebook, Google, and Apple all rolled into one. And the most disturbing thing about The Circle are the tenets which it operates under. Secrets are lies, sharing is caring, and privacy is theft. In pursuit of these goals, the Circle introduces numerous technologies to try to achieve them. Most prominent of these is Sea Change, which is a remote camera system in which the Circle attempts and eventually succeeds at getting complete global coverage with. At any point, anyone can see any part of the world under this one all-seeing eye. And some of the most fervent Circle employees and supporters adopt a lifestyle in which they become transparent, where they wear a Sea Change camera around their neck and broadcast their lives from dawn to dusk. Though the world which Eggers envisions in The Circle is not yet upon us, I'd say that many of the government surveillance programs and systems already in place are eerily similar. Now, I understand that thus far I haven't painted the kindest picture of surveillance. When used in a targeted and specific manner on suspect individuals, it's extremely effective in protecting our national security and also persecuting those who have committed crimes. Yet, what we're seeing seems to be not necessarily an increase in targeted surveillance, but in mass surveillance. I thought that if we really were concerned with security, we would be seeing an increase in this targeted surveillance as opposed to the mass surveillance of us all. With that, it seemed that surveillance had to serve some other purpose other than pure data collection. And after asking the question, What purpose does mass surveillance serve? I stumbled upon the work of a French philosopher named Michel Foucault. Now, in Foucault's book, Discipline and Punish, he explores an interesting topic. That topic is the evolution of the penal system from 1700 until today. In his exploration of this, he touches upon a specific concept that completely revolutionized my understanding of mass surveillance. That concept is the concept of the panopticon. Invented by an English sociologist named Jeremy Bentham in the late 1800s, the panopticon was simply designed to be the perfect prison. It consists of a centrally located guard tower with tinted or obscured windows surrounded on all sides by cells. At any point, the guard may observe any one of the cells, yet the prisoners are unable to see what cell he's looking at or if he's looking at them. And at any point, the prisoner may be caught doing something wrong and punished accordingly. In Foucault's own words, he is seen, but he does not see. He is the object of information, never a subject in communication. At its very essence, the panopticon creates a complete monopoly on knowledge, and through this, a complete monopoly on power, with the guard holding all knowledge and having complete control over the prisoner. Again, Foucault states, the panopticon must not be understood as a dream building. It is the diagram of a mechanism of power reduced to its ideal form. Through his own fear, the prisoner becomes his own jailer, restricting his actions without even the need for bars. And through the fear he imposes, the jailer has complete control over the prisoner, enacting any rules he desires. Though the panopticon, I would say, has not been largely adopted in prison systems, I would argue that it's been heavily adopted in our world today, especially in the digital world. Though not bound by prison walls in a physical one, we live in an even more imposing panopticon, the panopticon of our digital world. Every interaction we make online is monitored, analyzed, and recorded. Whether it be on the servers of the NSA or on our own Facebook walls, our lives are available for others to view. Some might ask, why should I care? I'm doing nothing wrong. Yet the problem with this is, what is your definition of wrong? From George Washington to Martin Luther King, our country has been built and advanced upon a principle of democratic subversion. People have quietly organized and then loudly fought against injustice and wrong that they've seen in society. We have the blessing of living under a benevolent government where justice is upheld. In our society today, generally our sense of wrong aligns with what the justice system's sense of wrong is. Yet if the government changes the definition of wrong, like totalitarian governments have throughout history around the world, we are left without the ability to fight it due to mass surveillance. With a digital panopticon surrounding us, they have the ability to make free speech no longer free, to make the right to assemble a wrong, and to violate our most basic liberties without fear of meaningful protest. When we suddenly fear that any action we make in the digital world against the status quo will both be caught because of the panopticon and punished accordingly, we cease making those democratically subversive actions. With the digital panopticon, we, like Foucault's prisoners, become imprisoned by our own fear, and this prevents us from enacting any meaningful social change. Now, earlier I mentioned the iteration of the common phrase. It goes something along the lines of, if you have nothing to hide, you have nothing to fear. The man who that phrase is commonly attributed to is Nazi Minister of Propaganda Joseph Goebbels. In order to ensure our democracy, in order to protect and preserve our ability to fight for true freedom, and in order to conduct the democratic subversion that American patriots have done for over 200 years, we must prevent and we must roll back the mass expansion of mass surveillance that's occurring right now. Well, we still also have the tools and the rights to do so. I would like to end by turning Mr. Goebbels' words around. If we as a society have nothing left to hide, we have everything to fear. Thank you.